Okay, we're on to block number 2, which is the split 9 patch. This is, again, a monochromatic block, so you'll want to pick out darks and lights. And what I've done here is I have, these are 2 1/8 inch squares. So 2 1/8, you want 3 dark squares. You want 3 light squares, 2 1/8 inch. And then we want 3 light squares that are going to measure 3 inches square, okay? And we want 3 dark squares that are going to measure 3 inches square. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, now these are oversized purposely so that you can cut them down to size after you piece them. That way, if you have any problems with your stitching, like your 1/4 inches off a little bit or a lot, you'll have plenty to cut this down. Okay, so we've drawn a line on the diagonal again, and we are going to stitch down both sides of that diagonal, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're going to do that on the, we're going to pair up 3 lights and 3 darks of the 3 inch blocks. And we'll have extra half square triangles left over, but that's okay. You can chain piece these if you want. You don't have to do them one at a time. I'm just doing this for you so that you'll see. Let's do this one with this. Yeah. You want to have a little bit of contrast there so that it finishes out in the block in an interesting way. And we'll see how this finishes. Okay. Now you can use prints. They don't have to be solids. You can switch it up and just have some fun with it. Don't make it like a do or die exercise. It's just learning to put samey colors together. A monochromatic block is colors that are in the same family, and they may be lighter or darker. They may have a shade or a tint or a tone to them, or they may be a pure color. So you dig out all your scraps of fabric that you have that are in that color range and see how you can put them together. Okay. There we go. So anyway, we're heading to the Badlands, as I said earlier in the first video. We're heading to the Badlands in September, and I'm really excited. I haven't been there since I was a small child. When I was a little girl, we drove out from back east to California with our parents, and we drove different routes every time, because that way my parents got to see the United States. But we were little. I have kind of a vague memory of what it looked like. I remember how beautiful the colors were out in the desert. And where did I put my rotary cutter? Oh, I flung it. See how I do? Okay, there we go. So we're going to cut apart on that line that we drew. And that will give us 2 half square triangles from each piece. We only need 3 of them. And we're going to press them open and cut them down. So again, pick the darker side of the fabric that you've selected, and just open with your fingers that seam and then press it. And that will give you a nice open seam, nice and crisp. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do 1 of each of these, and the others I'll save for another project, another day. It's always good to have extra half square triangles. Okay. And this is a utilitarian block. You can do so many things with this block. You can make a whole quilt with this block and it would be amazing. So, and again, like I said, you can scale up these blocks to be the size that you need. Now, what I wanted to show you is we're going to cut this down to this square here, which I have marked off with my tape. I use this tape from, I think it's Clover, makes a bunch of these. There's all different kinds of things you can do. Some people use a magic marker, and then they just take it off with acetone after. I just use this because I can move it when I want to, and it doesn't destroy my ruler. So I've marked off 2 1/8, so I can go ahead and line this block up on the diagonal here on the 45, and then I can trim it. And turn it around, and I've got plenty to be able to trim off and have a beautiful, beautiful block here. So, okay. I find that if you have to do half square triangles and you need them to be perfect, size up a little bit, give yourself some wiggle room. Not everybody's seams are perfect, and if you have an extra large seam and they've just measured that to the nth degree, then you're gonna come up short, and you're either gonna be too big or too small, and then you're gonna be frustrated because your block's not coming out right. So give yourself that wiggle room. It's just a blessing. Okay, there we have that. We have one more to cut here. And the tape is really helpful when you're cutting, because it just lets you line things up without having to strain and see where's that 1/4 inch. I don't know about you, but you know, at 70 my eyesight is a little challenged sometimes. So there we go. Okay, that's it. We're ready to put this block together. So let's just see how we're going to lay this out. We need to have 3 half square triangles. We need to have the darks, so we could put that there, maybe that there, and that there. And then we need to have the lights, and I like that out there. Maybe that there and that there. Oh, I'll switch those around. Put that there and that there. There, what do you think? Okay, so we're gonna stitch this together. You can play with it all you want. We're going to stitch this together, and we will have our 9 patch, just like a 9 patch gets stitched together, going across the row, across the row, across the row. And I'll talk to you about pressing in a minute. We're going to press one row one way and one the other way so that they nest. Okay, pick it up. These apart. Okay, and then I'm going to stitch the next one. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Yes. Right. This one goes like this, and this one goes like this, like this. There we go. Okay, so you want to make sure that you've got your light and dark triangles the way that you want them to go. And then back again, we're going to stitch the 3rd one on, and then we'll press. So let me know in the comments, did you do anything fun this summer? Did you go somewhere exciting? Or Or did you stay home and play in your yard and play in your sewing room and get things done around your house? Sometimes a staycation is the best. We need to finish the stairwell here, so that's a project that's going to be on our radar when we get back. And then next year I want to do new kitchen floors, so we'll see what happens. Okay, now we've got this, and we've got this one, and we've got this one. Okay, this is going to go here, and this one's going to go here. Okay, and the way you can discern that is you've got a light and a dark, a light and a dark, a light and a dark, okay? Now I'm going to press this. The first one I've pressed heading in this direction to the left. This one I'm going to press the seams out from the center. And this one, actually, no, I'm going to press that one in. That's what I'm going to do. Press that one in. Change my mind. I'm going to press this one in. You want to have your half square triangles pressed in one direction so that you're not having to, you want to press out from your points. Okay, hope that makes sense to you. And we've pressed out from the point, but we've pressed this one in because I want them to nest when I stitch them together. Okay, and this one, we're going to press this direction, and then we're going to press in just like that because we want it to nest. So hopefully I haven't confused you too much. Okay, so these seams are going to go in, these seams are going to go out, and these seams are going to go in. Okay, now when I roll this over and I go to put them together, you can see that my seams are going to nest right there. And I'm going to put a little pin in that because that's what I do. You don't have to put a pin in it if you're comfortable without it or you don't want to. You can clip it. You can do whatever you want to do. It's your quilt. And again, so that you do things in a way that's going to get you a nice point, stay on that side of your point. And you're going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to put a pin through that section. Yep, it lines up. Okay, so we're good. All right, we will stitch. Again, it's not a race, so just take your time. And we'll roll that up and you'll see that we have a fairly good point there. Okay, I'm going to press that. Because there's bulk in that seam, I'm going to spin that seam. So if you've never spun your seams, you just make a little clip in the stitches right there, and then I can press that down. I'll show you what that looks like afterwards. Okay, so we've spun our seam right here, and we've pressed this in this direction and that in the other direction. That just eliminates a little bit of the bulk when you have a lot of seams coming together in one area. We'll be doing the same down here. Okay, so we're gonna put this one up, and we know that we're gonna match our bits up here. So I wanna put a little pin through that. One right there. And let's see where we end up on the other side. I want to get right in that little, just on the other side of that intersection. So when I'm matching them up, I can make any adjustments that I need to make. And then what I do is I put a pin on the side once I've got it matched up. Pretty good there. And then I know that when I stitch it, I'm going to be pretty darn close. Okay. And again, you don't want to stitch to the left of your point. You want to stitch to the right side of your point. And we want to roll those seams and make sure they're, oh yeah, and let's see how we did. Pretty good. Okay, so again, we're gonna pull these apart. And you might need to snip a few little threads right there. There we go. I need my 30-year-old eyes back. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we've spun our seams, we're going to press, I'm going to give it a little bit of starch here. Okay. So we have our half square 9 patch, split 9 patch. Okay, so hopefully that is good for you, and you can see that we've used a monochromatic tone going through here. We have all of our samey colors that we pulled out that we love, and we're just putting them in there. You could do a bunch of these together and they would just be so fun in a quilt. Okay, I'll go on to the next one.